Hello everyone, today we're going to give a share in English. היום אני מנסה לתת שיעור באנגלית, נראה איך זה הולך. Today we're going to learn בבכמה דף חוף זין. We're going to start a few lines down, where I finished yesterday. V'omar Rabba said, the way I'm going to do it is I read the Gemara without explaining, and then I'm going to explain from the outside, and then I'm going to explain again inside. ואומר רבא, נופל מראש הגג, ונתקע באישו חייב בדלת דבורים, ובהבימתו לא יקונו. חייב בנזק, בצער, בריפוי ובשבס, על בוישס לא ידתנן אינו חייב על הבוישס עד שיהיה מסכוון. So we can explain outside. Rabba says, a person who fell from the roof, and he fell because of a common wind, no wind that's unexpected, a normal wind, so it's Korov le-mezid, and he fell and he had relations with a woman. By falling he fell on a woman and he had relations with her. So he's chayev, nezek, tsar, ripui sheves, and not boishes, and we're going to see why. And the reason why he's chayev is that because it's Korov le-mezid, and he chayev on a dalet dvorim when it's Korov le-mezid. And if he fell onto his yivoma, that means a woman who his brother's wife and his brother passed away without no kids, he has to marry her, he's not koina, because by Yvoma you need to have kavana to be koina, or kavana to have relations, and here he had no kavana to have relations, so he's not koina. And he's chayav nezek, tsar, ripui, and sheves and boishes. Nezek means damage, tsar is pain, ripui is doctor's fees, and sheves is for the person sitting at home, or the woman for sitting at home and she can't work for the time that she's injured. But boishes, embarrassment, is not chayev, because for boishes you only chayev when you do it purposely. Let's see it inside. V'omar Rabba, nofal merish agag, a person fell from merish agag, and Rashi explains, in a common wind, v'nitko be'isha, and he had a relationship with a woman from falling down. Chayev b'dalet dvorim, you have to pay nezek, tsar, sheves, ripui, uvivimtoi, his husband's wife, or his brother's wife who died without kids, lo ikono, she's not his yivoma. Chayev b'nezek, he's chayev to pay damage, b'tzar, pain, ripui is doctor's fees, b'sheves, and for her sitting at home for the days where she's injured and she can't work. But to pay for the embarrassment, you don't have to pay. Why? We learned in the Mishnah, you don't have to pay for embarrassment. Actually, he wants to do the Maisa. And over here, he fell from the roof, he didn't do it purposely. So the Gemara weiter, V'omar Rabba, nofal merish agag beruach she'einu mitzuyo, v'hizik, u'v'biesh, chayev ala nezek, u'poto b'dalet dvorim. ברוח מצויה ואיזיק וביש חי בדלת דבורים ופטורים ופוטו על הבוישס ואם נספך חייב אף על הבוישס דתניא ממשמע שנאמר ושולחו את יודוי אין ידיעה שהחזיקו מה תמוד לא ימה והחזיקו לא ימה לכו כיוון שנסכוון נזיק אף על פי שלא נסכוון לבייש. So now we can explain outside. Rabba says a person who fell from the roof with an uncommon wind, a wind they don't have to expect. Suddenly a big tornado came and pushed him off the roof, and he fell on someone, and he damaged, he broke their hand, and he also caused them embarrassment. So he has to pay the nezek, the damage that he caused, but he doesn't have to pay the other four things that we mentioned before, ripui, sheves, tsar, and boishes, because in that case he's the oines, and we learned earlier on Chofav that for dalet dvorim you only chayev mezid or korov le-mezid, only if it's purposely or close to purposely, and here because he shouldn't have expected this tornado to come, he's potter from dalet dvorim. And if it was beruch metzuya, if it was a common wind and he fell and he damaged someone, unembarrassed, he has to pay except of nezek, another three things, total of four. But he's potter on boishes, because we said like before, for boishes only if you had kavana. But if when he was falling down he turned over, he saw, oh, there's someone down there on the ground, and if I land on him I'll have a better landing, so he turned over, then it's also chayiv on boishes. Because we learned in the Brisa that in the Pasuk it says that two men had a fight. Let's read the Pasuk. Hinotzu anoshim yachtov, two people had a fight, ish v'achiv, v'korva eishes echod, and the wife of one of them came close and she wanted to stop the fight. La'atzil es eish is isha miyad makeu, to save her husband who's getting hit. V'sholcha yodo, and she will send a hand, v'yichzika b'mevushav, and she grabbed his private parts. So it could have said v'sholcha yodo, she sent a hand, b'mevushav, and his private parts. Why did it say v'yichzika and she grabbed? So from there we learn, even though that she didn't mean to embarrass him, the whole reason why she caught him there is to stop him from hitting, but she meant to grab over there, even though that she didn't mean to embarrass him, we learn from there that she's still chayav. You don't have to have kavanah to be mevayesh, to embarrass. It's enough to have kavanah to do the ma'aseh, and that's good enough. So therefore this person who fell from the roof, and he specially landed on someone to have a soft landing, even though they didn't try to embarrass him, you still have to pay the embarrassment. Let's see it inside. Omar Rabba, says Rabba, Nofal Marisha Gag Baruch Sheini Mitzuya, a person who fell off the roof on an uncommon wind, the tornado came, the Izik, and he damaged someone, who biesh, and he made him embarrassed. Chayav ala nezek, you have to pay the damage. Upotu bedalet dvorim, you potu from sheves, ripui, tzara, and boishes. But what happened if it was Baruch Mitzuya, a common wind? They had to expect that it's normal that such a wind should come and should push him off the roof. V'izik v'biesh, and he damaged someone and he made him embarrassment. Chayav bedalet dvorim, it's chayav nezek tzara ripui sheves. Upotu ala boishes, you potu on the embarrassment. If when he was landing, he specially tried landing on this person to save himself, you also have to pay for the embarrassment. The Tanya that we learned in the embrace, from what it says in the Pasuk, and she sent a hand, don't I know that she grabbed it? You don't need to write the word shechziko. Why is the actual word coming to tell you? Lahazik, since he meant to be mazik, afal pishon is gavin levayish, even though she didn't mean to embarrass him, that wasn't the purpose to grab the person's private parts to embarrass him, the purpose was to stop him hitting her husband, you still chayav on boishes. V'omar Rabba, niach lo yigacheles alibo yumeis poto, al bigdoi v'nitzrav chayav. Omar Rova, tarvayu taninhi alibo yiditnan Kovas olov letoicha or letoicha mayim, veinu yochol lalos mishom umeis chayev. Doch veletoicha or letoicha mayim, v'yochol lalos mishom umeis poto. Bigdoi ditnan koras ksusi shobar skadi chayev. Amanas liftoi poto. So the Gemara says, Rabbah says, the person put a coal on someone's heart and he burnt him and he killed him. So he's poto. Why? Because a person should take the coal off his body and save himself. But if he put it on someone's cloak, on someone's garment, and he burnt the garment, even though that the person could have taken off the coal and saved his garment and he didn't do it, the person's chayav to pay for damaging the garment. Says Rava, both of them we learn it we have a makor from the Brisa or Mishnah for this thing, because the part about the heart that you potter, it says in the Mishnah that someone put someone in the fire, or he pushed him in the water, and he's holding him in the fire. He pushed him in the fire in a way that he can't get out, or he's holding him underneath the water, and the person can't save himself, and the person died. Chayev, he killed someone, he's chayev. But if he pushed him in the fire or into the water, and the person who pushed him could get out of there, and the guy was just lazy, stayed inside, and he died, he's potter. So we could see from there that if a person could save himself and didn't save himself, and someone killed him, you're not chayev. And how do we know the other part of Rabbah, the other chiddush of Rabbah about the garment? Because it says in the Mishnah that Reuven told Shimon, tear my garment, or break this keli. So he's chayev. The person's chayev to pay, even though that he told him to break it, he meant to say you could break it, but you have to pay. So we could see, even though that he told him clearly break it, he means to say break it and pay. So also here, when he put a coal on the person's garment, if he didn't take it away, he's still chayev. But if he said, Al Minas Lifter, if the person, Reuven told Shimon, break my garment, tear my garment, or break my plate, and you'll be potter, then he's actually potter. Let's see that inside. V'omar Rabba, says Rabba, someone put a coal aliboy of his friend, he put on his heart a coal, umeis, and the guy didn't push it away, and he died, your potter, al bigdo, if he put it on his garment, v'nisraf, and the garment got burned, chayav. And then he chayav. Omar Rava, Tarvayu Taninu, we learned both in a Mishnah, aliboy, where do we know it from? Ditnan, kovash, olav letoicha, someone put someone in the fire in a way. He held him there, or into the water, and he drowned. And he has no way to get out. He's holding him underneath the water or in a place in the fire that he can't get out the fire. But if he just pushed him into the fire or the water, and the person could get out, but he died because he didn't go out. Potter, because the person should have saved himself. Big doy, how do we know that by your mominus, by your cloak, by your garment it's different? It says in the Mishnah, Reuven told Shimon, Christ Ksusi, tear my jumper, Shvaris Kadi, break my keli, chayiv. And he went and broke it. The person's chayiv to pay for the damage. And Minas Liftoy, but if he said you could do it and you won't have to pay anything, potter, then you're potter. Says the Gemara, boy Rabba, אם יחכלס לב עבדוי מהו, כגופוי דומי וכממוינו דומי. אם תמצא לו ima כגופוי דומי, שורי מהו. עוד הפשטה, עבדוי כגופוי שורי ממוינו. So, Rabbi asked the question. We said that there's a difference between a garment that you chayiv, even that the nizak could take away the coal off the garment, and by a person you're potter. So what's the din if someone put a coal on someone's eved, and the person didn't push the coal away and the eved died? Do we say it's like your cloak that you're chayev for the eved? Or do we say it's like on a person and you're potter? And then Rabbi said, if you want to say it's like gufoy and you say you're potter because you could have taken it off, what's the din by your cow? Someone put a coal on the cow and the owner didn't take off the coal. Do we say it's like an eved or person, or do we say it's like a cloak? And then afterwards, Rabbi Sen came to a conclusion. He said, you know what? Eved is like a person that you say you should have taken off, and if you didn't, I'm potter. And the cow is like your garment that you chayev, even though you could have taken off. Let's see that inside. Boy Rabbi asked the question, what's the din? He put a kol alev avdoi on the heart of his servant. Mau. Do we say kigufoy domi? It's like his body, it's like a person, and you potter. Oy mamoyno domi. Or it's like your garment that you chayev. And then he said, if you want to say kigufoy domi and your potter, sure mau. What happened if you pour a coal on your cow, on your ox? Or the pashta afterwards he said, you know what the din is? Avdoi, if you put on the coal on the eved, it's kigufoy, it's like you potter mimisa, you also potter over here because the person should have taken off the coal off the eved. Shoyroi kimamoinoi, but the ox is like the garment and you have to pay even they could have taken it off. And I explained that the owner should have taken off the eved. Rashi says that the eved should have taken it off. Hadron aloch keitza the regel. We'll come back to you, Perek keitza the regel. Now we're going to start a new Perek Shlishi. It's called Aminiach. And it's talking about, the first mission, it's talking about someone put something in Rosh Hashanah and someone got damaged from it. Let's see. Aminiach esakat b'Rosh Hashanah ubo acher b'nitkal bo v'shor potter. V'im huzak bo balachovis chayav b'nisko. So Reuven put a barrel in Rosh Hashanah, came Shimon and tripped over it. So, and he broke the barrel. So the din is he's potter to pay on the barrel. And we're going to see in the Gemara there's two ways of learning it. Or because a person's not going to look where he's walking, that's why he's potter. Or because it's talking about a certain circumstance where you normally see where you're walking. Normally a person's meant to see where he's walking, but it's talking about a specific case where you shouldn't see, let's say at night. And then the Mishnah carries on. What happens if he broke this barrel and then he got damaged? Reuben, who tripped over the barrel, got damaged from the barrel. So we say, Baal a barrel, the Shimon is chayav to pay for the nezek that was caused to Reuven, like a barber, shusarabim, like Someone dug a hole. Let's see the Mishnah inside. Someone put a barrel in Rishus Harabim, and came someone else, and tripped over it, and broke it, pot it, doesn't have to pay for the barrel. If the one who tripped over it got hurt and broke his leg, the owner of the barrel has to pay for the damage that was caused to the person who tripped over it. Said the Gemara, Posach bekad v'sim bechovis. ותנא נמי זה בו בחביסו וזה בו בקורוסו, נשבר קדוי של זה בקורוסו של זה פוטו. פוסח בחביס ושים בקד, ותנא נמי זה בו בחביסו של יין זו בקדוי של דבש. נסדיקו חובי של דבש ושופך זה יינו, והציל סדבש שתויכוי, אין לו סחורה. פוסח בקד ושים בחוביס. So, the Gemara is saying, in the Mishnah it says, someone put a small barrel, a kad, in Rishus Harabim. At the end of the Mishnah it said that the Baal HaChovis, a big barrel, is chayav. What happened? Did he put a small barrel or a big barrel? What's going on over here? Why is the Mishnah changing? At the beginning it says a small barrel, at the end it says a big barrel. It doesn't make any sense. That's the Gemara is not really asking like a question, the Gemara is mentioning it. And then the Gemara is bring two Mishnayos, so we see a similar thing. The first Mishnah is talking about someone who's going to Rishus Harabim with a big barrel, and another person's going with a big plank of wood, and they bump into each other and the barrel breaks, and then it says the one with the small barrel, you don't have to pay for the small barrel because they're both allowed to walk in Rishus Harabim. Again, it changes from a big barrel to a small barrel. And then we'll bring another Mishnah about two people walking in Rishus Harabim, walking. One has a barrel of honey, it starts with a small barrel of honey, and the other one has a barrel of wine. And then the barrel of honey breaks, and it's starting to drip. So the person with the wine says, 1 second, a litre of honey costs £10, a litre of wine costs £2. Let me pour out my wine and save this guy's honey, and it's worth it. So he does so, and then he comes to the owner and he says of the honey, listen, I saved you, 10 kilos of 10 litres of honey, £100. Please pay me back for why I lost my 10 litres of wine. That's worth, we said £2, a pound a litre. It's worth £10. Please pay me my £10. Says a Mishnah over there that you only have to pay however much, like a worker, for the work you've done, maybe for the rent of the barrel, but you don't have to pay for all the damage of the wine. And over there again, it says at the beginning a small barrel, then it says a big barrel. So the Gemara said in these three places, through Mishnayos, it starts with a small barrel or a big barrel, and then it changes in the same case. And we're going to see in a second, the next part of the Gemara explains what it is trying to teach us. Let's see this inside. Posach bekad, it started with a small barrel, the siyam bechovis, and at the end of the Mishnah it says a big barrel. Vitna nami, in another Mishnah it says, zebo bechaviso, one person is coming with a big barrel. V'zebo bekerosa, and another person with a plank of wood. Nishbura kadosh shel zeh. This person's barrel got broken bekerosa shel zeh with a plank of wood. Potter, because they're both allowed to walk in Rishus Harabim. Again, says the Gemara, Pasach Bechovis, it starts with a big barrel, Vasiyim Bekad, and then it talks about a small barrel. Vetna Nami, and the third Mishnah, Zebo Bechaviso Shel Yain, one person's coming with a barrel of wine. Vezebo Bekad Shel Dvash, with a small barrel of honey, Nistika Chovish Shel Dvash, there was a crack in the barrel of honey, Veshofach Zeyenu, the other person poured out his wine, and now he has an empty barrel and he saves all the honey. He only gets paid like a worker. Says the Gemara again, Pasach Bekad, it starts with a small barrel of honey, and then it says with a big barrel of honey. What's going on? Omar Papa, Ainu Kad, Ainu Chovis. Lemay nafkamina lemekach umerimka. Eichidomi, Ilim Abrasra, the Kada Loikor Chavisa, the Chavisa Loikor Kada, Loikorlo, Loitricha, the Ruba, Korlo, Kada, or Chavisa. Vi Kanami, the Korla Chavisa, Kada Chavisa, Mau, the Tema Zilbosaruba, Kamash Malon, Ein Olchim Bemomanacharov. So, in explaining inside, so our Papa is coming to explain why did the Mishnayos change between a small barrel and a big barrel, and he says, that it's come to say that a big barrel and a small barrel is the same. Says the Gemara, what's an afkamina? Why are they coming to teach us? What are we learning from here? Says the Gemara, it's talking about for business. If you're doing a business, if someone buys off someone, he says, I'm buying a cat, chovis, and the guy takes the money, and then he gives him only a small chovis, a cat, he gives him a small barrel. So he doesn't, the guy can't say, oh no, I meant to buy a big one. No, I have the money ready. If you want, keep the small one. So the Gemara, what's the case that we're talking about? If we're talking about in a city when a big barrel is called only a big barrel and a small barrel is called a small barrel, how can he say that? If a person said kado, that means a small barrel, how could he give him a big barrel or the opposite? If he said a big barrel, how could he give him a small barrel? It makes no sense. So the Gemara, no, it's talking about a case, about a city, an area where they most people call a big barrel and a small barrel. A chovis is a chovis and a kad. But some people, when they say chovis, they mean a small barrel, and some people, when they say a small barrel, a kad, they mean chovis. So you might have thought that you say you go after Roiv. This guy said, I want a chovis. That means a big barrel, and the guy supplied him a small one. You'd say you go after Roiv, and Roiv people call a big one, and a small one. Kamash malon, that by mominus, when a person's already muchzik, you say, bring me a raya, that's what you meant, and how should I know? Some people call it, they mix up between the two, and therefore I'm not mechuyev to you anything more. Let's see the Gemara inside. Omar Papa Ainu Kad Ainu Chovis. It's the same. There's no difference between a small one and a big one. The Main Afkamina. What do we learn out of it? So the Gemara Lemekach Umerka for buying and selling, that if a guy paid and he said he wants a Chovis or Kad, the Moicha can give him whatever he wants. Frag the Gemara, Echidomi, what are we talking about? Ilema Ba'asra the Kad Eloi Kor Chavisa. If it's talking about a city or a place where a kad, a small one, loy kor chavisa, no one calls a chovis. The chavisa and a big one, loy kor kad, no one calls a small one, holoy korlo. So how could the fella say, oh, I meant a big one, I meant a small one when he said a big one? So the Gemara, loy tziricha, no, it's talking about a case. The ruba, most people call a kada. Most people call a small one, a chavisa. They call a big one. V'ikanami, but some people, they call a chavisa kada, they call a big one a small one, and a kada chavisa, a small one, a big one. Mao the tema, you might have thought,